All right, since Steve is not here today, I'm going to do his part as well as my part. All right, are you ready? Here we go. This week's episode, Steve is having a heck of a time on his Florida trip. Steve says, yeah, flight delays screwed up everything. And I said, Boeing and Kitty Hawk are going to build the electric flying taxis. And of course, Steve says, it's together as a joint venture. They're not each building their own. And I go, yeah, that's right. And an almost MD says Dyson hand dryers are full of shit. And of course, Steve reminds me that, well, he didn't really say it in those words. And then I said, Florida nonprofit has a litter-sifting robot. Yeah, okay, it's not cat litter, but plastics and trash. And Twitch is putting porn on your homepage. And of course, you need to watch the show to find out more. Welcome to the Don't Know Show, featuring what happened to the world today. Steve's sort of not here yet. Hopefully he's going to be here. He's in Florida. And I'm Scott. And this is a tale of how bad life decisions led to a YouTube show, podcast, Twitch stream, and craziness, because that's what we're all about. And of course, we're going to talk about what we notice is going on in the world today. But before we get to that, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. We really need you to go down there. Well, it just tells you guys where to go for our page. But on the both the YouTube show, follow on the YouTube. No, I'm saying it wrong. On the Twitch show, follow. On the YouTube show, like, subscribe, and share. That's very, very important. We have picked up a few more people, but we need, especially on Twitch, we need, I think, 12 more before they start promoting us. So the first thing we usually talk about is what's on the screens behind us. If Steve was here, he would show us either a hotel room, a dining area, or someplace outside, but he's not here yet. So what you see on my screen is a surprise. This is April 2nd, this video from April 2nd. We ended up getting 4.5 inches of snow on April 2nd, after getting 3.5 inches of snow on March 31st. You can see how it's coming down. Now it melts the next day. So when we got the snow on March 31st, by April 1st, it was all gone. And then this came, it ended up being a lot longer. It was only supposed to be like an inch to 2 inches tops. We ended up getting 4.5, depending on where you were. And you can see how big the flakes are. And this is not even the biggest they got. At one point, they were just absolutely monstrous. When I took this video, it had only been snowing for about 2.5 hours at this point. It ended up snowing, I want to say 9 or 10 hours, and it was only supposed to be about a 3-hour snow. So surprise, it was supposed to change over to rain, never did. But it's kind of cool looking, and it was really pretty, and it was not unusual to be comfortable outside because it wasn't that cold, which is why the flakes were so big. I want to say the temperature was somewhere in the vicinity of 35, 36 degrees. And it was just absolutely stunningly beautiful. Loved it. Except, of course, it was very messy. I was worried that my snowplow clients were going to call and say, hey, can you come and plow? But fortunately, because of the time of year it is, the roads and the parking areas where I do most, and driveways and stuff, everything that wasn't gravel got covered. My deck is where I had all the snow. You can see, let me move out of the way. Oh, can't see it in this particular part of the video. When it moves, you can. I have a hot tub in my backyard, and on top of the hot tub, we had over 4.5 inches of snow on top of it. I actually went out there with my tape measure, stuck it in there, and said 4.5 inches of snow. So, and you can see it's coming down, so it wasn't drifting. That's really how much snow we got. Let's see. Yep, there it is. That's the hot tub right there. You see that? That's 4.5 inches of snow. It's obvious how much snow is sitting up there. But apparently, they don't take people like me, their information. They have specific areas that they take the official measurements from, and it's not my backyard. So my grill in the front yard was buried under 4.5 inches of snow too. So I know how much snow we got, and it was pretty cool. Okay, let's see. Next thing we do is we usually go into a show subject. This is going to end up being a really short show if Steve doesn't make it in here today, simply because he talks more than I do, which is really weird because in real life, I'm usually the talker. But when we started doing our show many years ago on the radio first, even though I've always been the lead in my business, because I have an entertainment company, and when I was out there, I always took lead. But Steve has this uncanny knack of understanding things going on really, really quickly. He can quick flip through something and get the whole story in 20 seconds. And, I have to read the whole thing to get it. So on our particular show, because of what we do, we come up with subjects that we find interesting. Steve actually just clicks on them before the show, reads them really quick. He's like a speed reader, zip, 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 zip. He's got it all in his head. And then, of course, I play the dumb guy because it's more funny that way. It's kind of like Adam Costello or any of that kind of stuff. He takes the lead, and it works out great. So today I'm going to have to do that because we are short him. Kind of surprised he hasn't messaged me because I texted him. Oh, there it is. Oh, look at that. He's at dinner. You think he would log in at dinner because he did that before, but apparently he hasn't done that. So we'll see if he shows up before I run out of things to say. Oh, he says it's really loud there, but he's going to check. So let's see if he's going to check in. Give me a second here. Oops. Okay. Let's see. Let's try inviting him again. See what happens. Okay. Here's the thing. He has. Ooh. Let's see if that's the right one. Oh, he declined my meeting. So apparently it is that loud in there, but we'll see. Maybe he'll be able to step out at some point. Of course, if he's in Florida, it should be 8:30. That's late to be eating dinner. Egads. Okay. Well, whatever. We'll see what happens. So, anywho's, if he makes it in here in a little while after dinner, we'll bring him in here. So, I was looking through our show subjects, and because he anticipated if he was in here, we didn't need any, I ended up picking a few that I found interesting. And one of them is Boeing has invested $450 million in a company that is going to be building electric self-flying air. Well, actually, it's them, I suppose. They probably bought a division. Electric self-flying air taxis. And we talked about this, at least a year ago, about how, sooner or later this technology is going to happen. The only thing that makes us really nervous here is, it's one thing if a car has an accident. Most cars are, you've got airbags, both side, front airbags, side airbags, and they're designed to take a certain amount of damage without too much problem. But when you are flying, you're above things, or you have an issue. The thing has an accident. You hit another airplane, you hit a building, you get hit by birds, you lose power. Oh, he says to try it again. You're going down, and you could be landing on somebody or slamming into a building. We see it on the news every once in a while. Okay, we're gonna try this again. So that makes me really nervous, although we know it's going to happen, because if you watch any science fiction movie that has, flying vehicles like the one with Bruce Willis, ooh, look, he might make it. He might make it. The Fifth Element, it's coming. Whatever's on science fiction today ends up being here in the future. Okay, we see you, but we do not hear you. Can you hear me? No here. Not hearing you. Are you hearing me?
Let's try that.
Now I hear you.
Oh, sorry, you can hear me now?
I can hear you now.
I don't have my headset, so let me try this. Are you talking?
Yes, I am talking. How are you? Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
Testing, 3, 4, 5. What was that? You can't hear me.
Say something.
I am saying things. I'm talking. Look at my mouth move. I am not playing the trick that you play on me. Yeah, it's probably too loud on there. How much time before you're done eating?
In-call volume is a full mode. So in-call volume is a full mode. That was so weird.
Okay.
No,
You are kind of quiet.
no, that's not it. I didn't bring my headset in. So, have I got stories for you guys? The flight that was supposed to be 5 hours to Orlando ended up taking 13 hours. So that was terrible. You saw that on the notes. And
Yes.
Same thing. We were supposed to be done with dinner already, but unfortunately, their flight got delayed too because all the planes are wrong spots. So you're going to need to get to the airport early, and hopefully your flight's didn't get changed.
Well, we're not taking Southwest. We're taking Frontier.
I hear you.
Oh, now it's
You
loud.
want to hang up and come back? See
It
if it'll
just
pick-
got really loud. Can you hear
Go
me
ahead and
now?
Hang up and come back. See if it'll pick me up.
Okay. We're going to try this again. Let's.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I can make you
All
go
right,
away.
You know how to hang up.
You don't know how to hang up? I don't know how to hang you
Figure
up.
out how to hang up.
Interesting.
I
don't-
don't know how to.
There you go.
Okay,
Now you're
I
back.
don't know how to hang up.
Can you hear me now?
That's it. It says live.
You're
Stop
obvious-
streaming, then cancel.
You're obviously not hearing me.
I have leave. There it is. I'm leaving.
All right. You know, this technology is getting better every day, but sometimes you just don't want to work. All right, we're going to try inviting him back in, see if it makes any difference. Okay. He's been invited. And okay. Admit. Do. He's in the waiting room, which is kind of interesting. There we go. Steve Allen. All right. Now that's really weird.
I forgot to bring my headset in.
Can you hear me now?
Are you there?
I am here.
I can't hear you.
I'll get as close to the microphone as I can. How's that?
Right now? Nope, I can't hear you. So this is not working. So I'll just give you a quick glance around. That's what
Okay.
Florida looks like. So sorry, Scott. I probably should have brought my headset in. Didn't think about that. But have fun on the show. Have fun on your trip. We'll connect up next week. But yeah, the flight was terrible. Southwest Airlines is really struggling right now. So
Okay. I'm sure most of you are not hearing him because he's almost on.
I see you got snow. Groundhog was wrong. You can't hear me now?
You're really quiet. Yeah, it's terrible. So, anywho's,
Can you hear me? No? One,
you
two,
keep
three.
going out and you're so quiet, it's almost impossible to hear you.
Can you hear me? This is a universal first set. No, you can't hear me. All right. Well,
See ya. Bye-bye. All right. I guess we're going to be doing the show without Steve today. Well, technically, he was here for a short period of time. He's got to figure out how to disconnect. And apparently, it looks like he has disconnected. So,
I can't figure out how to leave.
it's really weird because you would think that it would be really easy for me to boot him. There, no, he's still there. I don't understand why I can't boot him. So,
I don't know what.
all right, that might have done it. Interesting. All right, this is really weird because now my screen just has my name on it and not my face. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, there, I'm back. Yoo-hoo! All right, Steve texted me a text message apologizing that things sucked really bad. it's okay. It's just the way it is. So we are going to continue on with the show with me running it. How weird is that, right? Okay, so let's see. Let's move this over so I have a little bit more room to work. All right, but anyway, this whole thing with Boeing, I'm really, I don't know how long it's going to take before they can get this to be workable and safe and stuff like that. I realize I am no longer, a 20-something-year-old kid. So when the technology that I've been waiting for all my life starts to show up, I get really excited about it. Unfortunately, I don't know if I'm going to be able to utilize it. It depends on how long it's going to take. For those of you who've been watching the show, I lost my dad in January of this year. He made it to 89. So my great grandfather made it to 96. So I've been hoping that I'm going to make it over 100 because a lot of people are. As a matter of fact, we just had one of the local people in our area just celebrate their 104th, and they're still active. They're not in a home or anything. They still live on their own and drive and everything. That's just freaking amazing. So, I got hopes that I'm going to be able to take advantage of not just the flying taxi type thing. I mean, that's going to be cool, but I'm hoping that the price of going in outer space is going to become either affordable or it'll be close enough that I'm healthy enough at the end of, my time on this planet to be able to go up there and say, hey, leave me here on the moon. Like on, what's the one where Tommy Lee Jones has stage 4 cancer. So he wants to stay on the moon for his ending thing. Something like that. I mean, I realize it's really not practical, but yeah, you got to have dreams, right? So anywho's, with Boeing investing that $450 million in the electric self-flying taxis, actually, let me take a peek at this. I thought I had it open, but something went wrong with that. I want to see if they have a date that they're anticipating things to happen. It's a joint venture between Boeing and Kitty Hawk. All right. So it's going to be kind of like a small helicopter. What I'm thinking about, if you've seen how drones operate, at least the smaller drones with cameras on them, not the drones that they use in the wars and stuff. There's 4 fans, one, on each corner. That's kind of what I'm thinking is going to happen. These things are going to work something like that because they're going to be a lot safer. They're going to have, Space Cowboys. That was the movie. Thank you. That was really a fun movie too. So apparently the thing that they like the most about them is if you live near an airport, airplanes are loud. Helicopters loud. Actually, helicopters are even louder than airplanes because they fly lower. So I don't know if they're technically louder. Obviously, a jet turbine's not quiet, but by the time they're going over your house, they're probably at 10,000 feet. Whereas a helicopter flying over your house, especially ones that fly over here, they're maybe 200 feet. So when they go by, it's it's pretty obnoxious. Although I like it, so I run outside and take pictures of it. The only problem that I've run into is if you don't get me wrong, we talked about this before. Cameras on cell phones are so much better than they used to be. I have the new one that has the extra cameras. You see, that's really kind of cool. So I love it. The problem is they're not. All right, you're trying to zoom in a hurry when you're doing a video or a picture. I don't know if it's just because I'm not a teenager, but I'm constantly hitting the wrong thing and it either switches to selfie mode, which is not helping me if I'm trying to take a picture of helicopters flying over, stuff like that. Because we get the warbirds to fly over. If you don't know what warbirds are, they're antique war airplanes, and they have conventions and they fly around. Oshkosh is the big one around here. And sometimes they come into Delavan and Lake Geneva because there's a couple of small private airstrips at the resorts. So they come and stop and, you get to go and look at these planes, and they're pretty cool. And I'll tell you something, when some of these warbirds fly in here, because they're also flying low, and they've got monster engines because, in the war, you needed all that power. And we had a flight of Mustangs come in here. If you're not familiar with the Mustang, look it up. It was very, very popular in World War II. I believe the Black Sheep's, did they use Mustangs? Anyway, I can't remember. It's been a while. But the engine is like a third of the aircraft, because they're hauling bombs, they're hauling people, they're, the pilot, ammunition for the guns. So you need all that power. And when they come flying in here to Lake Lawn Resort or into Lake Geneva at Grand Geneva, man, are they loud. It's really cool. So, and of course, they don't fly at night. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure they do. But the pilots, they're usually really, really, really considerate of the population. If like when I'm out there and they're flying over and I wave at them, they do this with their wings. So they wave back at you. That's pretty cool. They don't have to do that. They could say, oh, I didn't see that guy down there. Granted, where I live, if I'm standing out in my backyard, I'm pretty damn visible. But anywho's, so back to the Boeing and Kitty Hawk thing. I'm looking for a date here really quick. See, I'm like Steve, I got on a tangent. I completely forgot where we're at. All of this is their 6th generation of this aircraft. So it looks like they're getting really, really close to making these work. That's pretty damn cool. Yeah, they're going to do air taxis, drones, and other types of aircraft to move people and goods in cities. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. If you are a nerd or just into technology in general, you can look that up. Like I said, it's Boeing and Kitty Hawk. Look up those two, and this, you can see what I'm talking about. All right, what's our next subject? Yeah. Okay. I remember back in the day when electric hand dryers started becoming very popular in public restrooms. They insisted that they were more sanitary, less wasteful than using paper towels, hand towels, those little dispensers of towels. In a sense, I understand that because I cannot tell you how many times I would see somebody with soaking wet hands reach in to grab one and they end up pulling out like 12 and then they just throw them on the floor because they only needed one. So I can see there is a waste thing there. So, I get in the habit of using them when they're available. The nice part about it is a lot of times your hands are all wet. You can use your elbow, pop on the button because the button's like this big. You can't miss the damn things. And now, of course, the new ones, you don't even need a button. They're all motion sensors, right? So you put your hand underneath it, it just starts to work. But apparently some experts are mentioning that these things are not as good as people wanted. Well, in this particular case, they're talking about the Dyson brand. I don't know. That seems kind of weird because I was always under the impression that Dyson was one of the better companies. But anyway, this guy it says an MD candidate. I'm assuming that means it is somebody who is in med school but has not graduated yet, so they are not an MD. They are. I'm assuming that's what that means. But he does TikTok. Do you guys remember TikTok? Stop. Breath mint. Yeah, he's a TikToker named Mad Medicine, and he's all about sharing what he calls dope medical facts. He's trying to make health information more accessible because so many younger people are big into social media and there's so much misinformation out there. He's trying to, do what doctors do and give information out properly. But anyway, according to this, the hand dryers in the public restrooms are extremely disgusting, which I find weird because apparently they're supposed to be better. They've done some actual studies on these hand dryers to see if they spread bacteria. And apparently, compared to paper towels, it's quite a bit more. In 2018, a Harvard Health group went through University of Connecticut and Quinnipiac University. That's a big word. Exposure to the hot hand dryers exponentially grew bacteria colonies within matters of seconds. Now, I do know that bacteria thrives in heat to a point, and then like anything else, if it's hot enough, it destroys it. But of course, if it's hot enough to destroy the bacteria, you're not going to have much of your hand left either, or you're going to be in intensive care. So, but apparently the reason this is happening is if you do not know this yet, you're supposed to keep your toothbrush and everything either covered or at least 10 feet away from your toilet, because every time you flush your toilet, or if you were a guy and you're standing and urinating into your toilet from a distance and is splattering, you are putting bacteria and stuff in the air. Now, one of the things that I've always thought about is when you're exposed to stuff more frequently, you end up being stronger for it. You know what I mean? To an extent. I mean, obviously, it's like with the pandemic. You really didn't want to be exposed to that, because if you got it, it was potentially really, really bad. But like the cold, everybody gets cold. Everybody gets the flu. You get your flu shot. That way, if you do get the flu, it's not as bad. It ends up feeling more like a cold. You'll get a little droopy nose. You might get headaches. You might get a little congestion. But for the most part, you hopefully don't end up in the hospital with it. So when I think about that, yes, I do keep my toothbrush 10 feet away from my toilet, simply because, you know, I'm being diabetic and taking meds that make me pee like a racehorse constantly all day long. I don't really need that spreading up on my toothbrush. So according to this, you are much, much, much better off using hand paper towels and putting them in the trash, but only if the trash can has a lid. Now, granted, most of your bathroom trash cans have those floppy things. You know, you put it opens up, drop it in there, and it's closed. That's ideally what you want. So apparently, using the Dyson units is not as safe as it should be. And I'm hoping that Dyson comes up with a unique way of cleaning their machines, like the UV stuff. If they could put a UV light in their air blowy thing, God, technical terms, right? That would be pretty ingenious, because then the bacteria would be killed all the time and you'd always have that nice fresh air. I think that might be something to think about. If you guys have any connections in the industry, pass it along. Tell them that it was my idea to try that. If it works, all I ask for is recognition. I won't even ask for money on this one, just recognition. Because it'd be kind of nice to have my name in some kind of a book that says he came up with a brilliant idea. That would be awesome. All right, what's our next subject? Well, let me look at the clock. Oh, guess what? It is time for a genuine positivity message. I mean, technically we have 2 minutes, but the next subject I know is going to take longer than 2 minutes. So let's get into this. Steve likes to tease people by saying that I need to go away and bring in Funguy The Entertainer. And of course, most of you guys know I am Funguy The Entertainer. So with further ado, my genuine positivity message of the day for you. The best thing to do on vacation is be on vacation. Ding, 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 ding. The reason I decided to come up with that is next week I am on vacation. And for those of you who are interested, I am going to try to do the Twitch show a couple of times while I'm actually in Cancun at the resort. Because apparently I'm going to have Wi-Fi available throughout the resort, including the pool area. So I'm going to try to do, we're also going to try to do the Sunday show like tonight, next Sunday from there. But we're supposed to be doing 8 shows a month in order to get the benefits of being on Twitch, if you know what I mean. As a result, I figure if I do 2 shows there and then do at least one other small show in the middle of the week, we're going to hit that 8 show minimum. Because right now we're doing 4 or 5, depending on how many Sundays there are in a month. And you got to have that 8. So that's what I'm going to try to do. So if you are curious about Cancun, Mexico, or Mexico, stay tuned next week. Just make sure you follow this channel, because then when I log in, you'll get a notification. I don't think the shows will be an hour long. They're probably going to be 20 minutes to a half hour max. I'm going to try to, make friends with like one of the activity staff, or maybe meet somebody really cool that's also a guest there and put them on here, and we'll do like a little mini show, just for fun. All right. Our next show subject is, okay. video game history is colliding. Now, when I say that, I have no clue what they mean. When we search for show subjects, we go through a bunch of different news sources and they come up with the headlines. And sometimes, as you've heard Steve rag on them, sometimes the headlines make no sense. This is kind of one of them. But the subject itself is actually pretty good. I don't know if you have ever heard of Sierra. Sierra, Ken and Roberta Williams are literally two of the most influential figures in video game history. They are bringing the original 1976 text adventure, Colossal Cave Adventure, to virtual reality as well as Mac and Windows PCs. Now, I used to play the Colossal Cave Adventure. It is a text-based game, kind of like the original Dungeons and Dragons was, where, you know, it's like you have a dungeon master or game master telling you what's going on, and then you tell them what you want to do. The difference is in this particular game, you don't just come up with things. It's like a multiple choice option. You choose what answer you want to answer. But they're going to make this into VR. Now, that sounds really freaking cool. Now, here's what's even more cool about it. Roberta and Ken have been retired for 25 years. They have not been in the, don't get me wrong, they're still doing stuff, but they haven't been working for money. They've been doing freebie stuff for fun because, you know, they want to do it. So I went and looked at the pictures of them, and I actually remember these two because back then, that's when I got into computers, was in the late 70s. And I'm not 100% sure if it was at Gen Con that I saw them, but I definitely recognize these two from this picture because, yeah, I ran into them, and I'm really thinking it was Gen Con back when it was at the Playboy Club. I believe it was the Playboy Club back at then. Yeah, it was still the Playboy Club. So, or it might have already been at Mecca. No, it was at Mecca. I'm sorry. It was at Mecca, which is in Milwaukee. It's not there anymore. Well, it's still there. It's a different name. But anyway, so if you are into VR games, this has potential. You got to give people credit when they think of something all these years that they created all these years ago, and people loved it so much back then. It's kind of like watching a lot of movies nowadays. You see movies that are being remade, like Aladdin. When they remade Aladdin with live action people, it was a musical. Dumbfounded at how awesome of a job they did. And I have a feeling that this is what this is going to be like. So keep watching for that. Look up for, let's see, Colossal Cave 3D. I'll tell you what, let's see, what is this under? Yeah, look up Sierra Colossal Cave Adventure 3D, and you can see a 60-second video. I know Steve likes to share these things, but we just got new notices from, I don't know if it was from Twitch or from YouTube, but apparently they don't like it when you put other people's videos on there without already having their permission. So until we can find out what we can and cannot do, I'm not going to do that. But anyway, that's it for that one. And because of the fact that Steve is in Florida, well, he was in Florida last week, and now he's in Florida again this week. I don't know why he didn't just stay there. It would have been, especially with the crap we went through. I don't know. I'm sure you did not hear it because I had trouble hearing him, but I know how much of a headache he had getting to his event. A short flight ended up being like a 10-hour day for him because they kept running into problems. So anyway, for those of you who are, yeah, Steve would. Yes, that's very, very true. He would show the video, but I sent him the notice that we got. So he didn't tell me anything yet. I'm going to let him double check everything. But anywho's, for those of you who know how bad plastics are for the planet, yes, plastics are also necessary. The problem is, if you know anything about what happens to the way they biodegrade, they don't really biodegrade. They just degrade. So you end up having little itty bitty pieces of plastic everywhere, and the ocean is full of this plastic. And now they're running into problems with the beaches. Some of that plastic, because when it gets old, it gets brittle and it gets sharp. So they've been trying to, people have been hand raking beaches to pull up plastic bottles and bottle caps and, anything plastic. Well, anyway, a Florida nonprofit company has come up with a litter sifting robot. How cool is that? They raised their own money to have this built. It goes out on the beaches. It kind of works. If you know what a thatching machine is, if you've ever played golf or if you've ever worked with landscapers or had landscapers at your house, a thatching machine basically goes through your yard with a whole bunch of raking needles and tills it up and pulls all the dead grass up. This thing here is kind of like a cross between a thatching machine and a golf ball picker-upper. Instead of just pulling it up and leaving it all behind you, it pulls it up and then sifts it through a fine mesh filter. So the normal grains of sand, which are small, will go right back to the beach. And then all the stuff that's bigger than that will keep. Yes, they're going to pick up rocks and seashells and stuff like that, but that's okay because that could be used elsewhere. But the key is it's going to pull up all this plastic stuff, which is really, really, really important. I am huge on my recycling. Most people have those blue bins that are like 18 inches tall, 16 inches wide and 2 feet deep long, right? I have a recycling bin that is bigger than my garbage can. I want to say it is a 48-gallon recycling bin that stands upright on wheels. Pretty much every single week, that sucker's full. I know the proper etiquette for recycling. I clean my stuff. I don't just throw dirty things in there. I take the bottle caps off for the most part. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes we miss a few, but they expect that because a lot of people don't do any of that stuff. I even pull the rings off the milk jugs because it's different types of plastic. And people say, oh, it's just plastic. Different kinds. They have to be sorted. Excuse me. That's the problem with doing all the talking. I forgot to bring a beverage. I should have brought a beverage. But anywho's, so if you are into recycling, it's nothing you can look up. Clickorlando.com. Just go there, take a look at this cool little machine. They designed it themselves and they funded it themselves. That is pretty awesome. So I'm thinking, in Lake Geneva and Lake Delavan, that might not be a bad thing for them to look at because we have like 5 lakes all within 20 minutes of each other. So a company might buy one of those and, put it on a trailer and go to different beaches around and, make money at it instead of being a nonprofit. That's cool too. After all, this is a, what do they call it? Now I'm having a brain fart. Whole purpose of our economy is, like in the robots movie, find a need, fill a need. Always thought that was awesome. It's like one of the reasons I want our show to be successful is I think people need a break from all the crap going on in the world. That's why we try to avoid the politics and the religion stuff on our show. We talk about stuff like this because it's more interesting and it's less stressful for all practical purposes. So I'm hoping that people will remember to share so that we can pick up a few more people. And because that's what happens. Once you get on a roll, it goes fast. It's like a viral video. My pandemic song that I wrote, She Thinks My Life's All Sexy, started out really slow. I mean, I had in the first 2 weeks, I think I had 100 people look at it. And then all of a sudden it hit the right people. And 2 more weeks later, I was up to 1,400, which is pretty cool. Obviously it's still not quote unquote, right? Double quotes, whatever. Truly viral because, you're supposed to hit that 100,000 mark before they consider it big. But I was pretty happy with now it's almost up at 1,600, which is all right because people still look at it, which is also all right. And considering I did the whole thing, wrote it and recorded it all in 4 hours, it's not perfect, but it's not bad. I even tried to do a quick release on TikTok. A bunch of people thought it was kind of funny, but I had to massacre it because you can only have 60 seconds on TikTok, and the song's like 3 minutes and 48 seconds. So kind of weird when you only see a part of it, but whatever. So anyway, we're kind of early because, again, with Steve not being here, it's going to be kind of bad. So we're going to be a little short today. We're only going to hit probably 45 minutes. But that brings us to the word of the week, because we have no more. Oh, wait. I do have one more. Twitch has a new boost feature that puts porn on your homepage. How cool is that? I'm going to have to read this to you guys. You're never going to believe this. They've already taken it down because it wasn't supposed to do that, but that's what it ended up doing. It was an experiment, and they call it an experimental feature, but due to some safety considerations, we decided to remove it. For all practical purposes, it was called the Boost Train feature. It launched last month, and it let people pay to promote their streams. One of the things that we were mentioning is we keep getting these people that pop little ads on our thing, said, hey, if you give us some money, we'll promote your stream. Most of those are scams. Don't get me wrong. There is probably a handful of people out there that are really running businesses that know how to promote, but they don't approach you that way. That's why we're pretty sure those are just scams. But anyway, obviously, Twitch thought it might not be a bad idea to make a little bit of extra money by, you could, it's like Facebook or Meta or whatever. You can spend money and promote your post. Same concept, right? And the way it works is when you pay to have your channel promoted, it will show up on other people's channels. Okay? A little bit intrusive in my opinion, but still, that's how you get known. Because if nobody sees your show, that's our problem. We're not getting enough people seeing it because it's a numbers game. As the numbers start to rise, all of a sudden, one of two things happen. Either you completely suck and you crash, or it starts to build. And it goes faster and faster and faster until, of course, you reach a plateau. Unless you are like a superstar. And then, of course, but even they reach plateaus. You got a few people with million viewers. But once they hit that million, it fluctuates, up and down 100 every week, right? Sometimes it goes up 80. Then it drops down 40, but it was a really, really good idea. The problem is some of the people that were paying to promote their stuff, they were promoting porn. As a result, all of a sudden these porn videos, or it's not the video itself, but it's the thumbnail that shows up, allows people to click on the thumbnail to say, hey, let's check this out. This might be interesting too. And of course, it would be porn pictures, and that's not good because not every Twitch channel is adults. So they pulled it down until they could figure this out. But I like the concept as long as the pricing is reasonable. In my opinion, the advantage to it is twofold. One of the biggest problems with social media is the amount of spams, scams, and all around bad players, if you know what I mean. And because everything's basically free, they're free, and of course, anonymous, they're free to do and say whatever they want, making it a lot less fun for most people. But if you'd had to pay for it, don't get me wrong, there are bad people that have a lot of money behind them, so that doesn't stop that because they can afford it. But by making it that you have to pay for it, you're more likely to get legitimate people with their shows. So you're not going to click on it and get somebody who's theoretically, let's say like the Don't Know Show. Instead of getting Don't Know Show, you click on the link for the what you think is something like the Don't Know Show, and you end up getting two guys that are spewing hate everywhere. So but by making them pay for it, it's a lot more difficult, because a lot of people just do it because they can, and it doesn't cost them anything. So I can see the potential to this coming out once they fix the problem. So anyway, that ate up enough time. So we're going to be closer to the right amount of time because now it is time for the word of the week. All right. As you know, we like to follow along with the show. If we can make a word of the week that goes along with one of our subjects, that's not a bad thing, right? So the word of the week this week is microplastics. Yes, it's a real word, and that is what that machine is trying to take. Well, it can't take out microplastics because they're too small, but there are other things doing that. Plastic is the most prevalent type of marine debris found in our ocean and Great Lakes. Plastic debris can come in all shapes and sizes, but those that are less than 5 millimeters in length, or about the size of a sesame seed, are called microplastics. Now, when I dive, which hopefully I'm going to do when I take my vacation next week, technically, I guess it's this week already. Ooh, I leave tomorrow night. Well, sort of. Tuesday morning, technically. But anywho's, sometimes you can actually see, especially if you're close to shore and you're close to a river, where I don't know if you know this, but a lot of the resorts, they do not pump their stuff into sewage treatment plants like they do here in the United States. A lot of times the stuff is literally pumped into the ocean through tubes, really, deeper. So theoretically, it doesn't affect us. It does affect us, because you can see this shit floating in the water. Because when I'm down there diving with my camera, I've taken pictures, and people say, "What is all that stuff floating in the water?" Well, don't get me wrong. Sometimes it is sand particles and shell particles. Yes, sand is made out of broken up shells and rocks and volcanoes, depending on where you are. So it's not all plastics, but sometimes you can literally see pieces of, like, 6-pack rings. They're the worst, because if you don't separate the 6-pack rings, animals get their heads stuck in them. Bad, 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 bad. So anyway, basically that's the end of the show. Look at that. I managed to get 50 minutes in. So I only shorted the show by 10 minutes without Steve. That's not too awful bad, right? So I hope you enjoyed the show. Once again, please remember to like, subscribe, and share. I know you hear it a lot. Everybody says it, but if you don't share, people don't find out about us. And the cool thing is, if we were to get a little bit more popular, so that we could actually start making some money at this, we can invest in doing better things with this. It's one of the reasons why I'm going to enjoy doing the show in Cancun, because it's kind of what I want to do. I want to do more of this, like when Steve went through Las Vegas and stuff like that. I think that's really cool, and I think people will really get a kick out of it, because then we could bring, just like the shows you see on TV where they bring in celebrities and stuff. Maybe we can't really bring in celebrities, but we could bring in people that are interesting, because that's what we're all about. We're into interesting. We want you to find yourself distracted from the reality of the crap that is reality in your life. I know everybody has good stuff too. There's a lot of crap right now. Hopefully it's going to get better. But by watching our show, you might call us crap, but at least we're funny crap. So, all right. So thanks for watching. Spread us around and have yourself a wonderful day. And how do I like to do that? Be genuinely positive, live and love life, and have a good one.